This is our project for the Code Day internship called A Helping Hand. I'm Sadhika Akula. I'm a high school senior, and I worked on the back end. I created JS functions for CRUD operations, and I also worked on connecting the front end and the back end. When a user fills out forms, my code will write into the Cloud Firestore database.
Hello, my name is Kiara McMorris, and I'm a student at North Seattle College in Seattle, Washington. I worked on the back end of this project, and I did database creation and administration. I created a NoSQL database using Firebase Cloud Firestore and was the database admin. Utilized Node.js and JavaScript for Get API. I implemented the Get API on the tasks page. So I use the Get API to fetch available tasks in the database and display them on the tasks page. And I implemented text box filters for the task page. And so the text box filter filters out tasks based on category. And it was kind of like our search component. And you can filter based on multiple categories.
My name is Reyes, and I also work with the front end. And I'm a rising junior at NYU. So I created the wireframes for the project with all the different pages and all that, and I used Adobe XD for that. I also created the web pages themselves and created the buttons and the forms required for the input fields for the backend. I also styled any backend code that needed to be displayed on the actual web page itself. And I also researched accessibility options for different things such as color blindness, an older audience, and all that.
So our problem introduction. So seniors often have trouble receiving the help they need, and our website connects seniors and volunteers, allowing volunteers to complete difficult tasks for seniors. So a helping hand focuses on simple and clear UI for seniors to be able to use, accessibility for all individuals, filtering tasks by category, and senior profile and volunteer profiles.
So our solution was what we have here on the screen. It's a very simple website, something that's super easy to navigate. On this screen, you can see the login forms for both the seniors and the volunteers. And the sign up also takes you to a different page. And we also have a navigation bar at the top that changes as we go along through the website. For this page, we have both sign-up forms on the same page. We have a bunch of different fields to make it easier for us to then match to volunteers later on, such as like their address, specifically city and state. We also have the person last name for personality. Obviously, we have the email and password for a sense of security. And then we still have the nav bar displaying the same things up top. For this page, it shows two different profiles. The first one is for the senior. It will have a profile picture to bring a sense of familiarity. It has their name. It has two buttons. It has the contact, which will most likely be their phone number or email. It also has a create task button that takes you to a whole different page where you can create the task. There's also a sample of the create task form on this page where there's checkboxes and only one will be able to be checked at a time. And then you can fill out whatever task notes it is, what day the senior wants it, what time, and a description of it. On the right side, the blue box, that is previous task or current task displayed on the senior's profile where they can edit the information or delete it. And in the nav bar, you can see that there is now access to the senior profile on this once they're signed in. Or the right side, it's a very similar format, except instead of having a create task button, they have a view available task, which right next to it, it shows how that filtering works and how do you assign yourself a task. So there's the checkbox system again, where you can filter through all those different categories. There's also the name of the senior showing up the days that they need it, the time, and what kind of task it is. And the blue boxes again show the tasks that they have had in the past or are currently working on. Instead, this time they have the functionality to mark it as complete and view their own feedback on the task. So again, these are just like closer looks at the available and the create tasks. This is the navigation of the website. So we wanted to make it super simple, especially for the seniors. On the home page, there's only the login and whatever is in the nav bar. And that will take you based on which button you click to either the sign up form for both the seniors and the volunteers, or if you log in through the volunteer portal, you can go to the volunteer profile, which includes a number of things such as contact info, name, their bio, their tasks in progress, and the tasks available button. If you go through the senior portal, it takes you to their profile, which includes their contact info, name, bio, their tasks that have either been done or are currently being done, and the create a task function. And then from there, both buttons mentioned before either take you to task available or to create a task function. This is more navigation based on a nav bar. So before you log in, all that it displays is the about, the contact, and the home. And after you log in or sign up, there's the about, home, contact, and either the volunteer or senior profile, depending on which one you sign in through.
So here we have just snippets of code that we use for the project. We have some code from the sign up page, from the JavaScript of the task available, and some of the JavaScript text. And if you want to see more of the code, you can go to the GitHub repo that we have, and it's right on the top there. So it's github.com/eatlunchnow/codelabs2020.
So if you visit our repo, this is the project structure that we have in there. We have the index.html, the main page. That's where we have the ability for seniors and volunteers to log in, as well as the style.css, which is just the styling for that page, and script.js, which initializes the Firebase database. And for this index.html, it just makes sure that the boxes are formatted properly. We also have signup.html that has the code for the signup forms in HTML. And in our create tasks, senior profile, and tasks available folders, you'll find create task CSS, HTML, and JS files. The CSS in all of these are just for styling. The HTML is the actual format of the page, and the JS connects to Firebase. It either creates a task, it shows the senior profile and shows the tasks coming from the database, or in tasks available, it shows the available tasks for a specific senior and shows up on the volunteer profile.
So here is our database schema. So the database that we used was Firebase Cloud Firestore, and it is a NoSQL database. And so NoSQL is a non-relational horizontal scaling database. And so a Cloud Firestore NoSQL database is a horizontal scaling database in the cloud. And there are 3 collections in the database. We have volunteers, tasks, and seniors. And then within those 3 collections, there are documents. And so as you can see in the graphic here, we have seniors collection, the task collection, and the volunteers collection. And so the documents within the seniors and volunteers collections are very similar. So all 3 of them have an ID, but in the seniors and the volunteers collections, there's first name, last name, address, city, state, zip, phone number, email, and password that every senior and every volunteer need to fill out. And the only difference between the 2 collections is in the senior collection, there is an age document, and in the volunteers collection, there is a rating document. The seniors and volunteers collections are connected to the task collection by the create by and completed by documents. So whenever a task is created, the name of the person who created the task is added to the created by document, and whomever completes the task, their name is added to the completed by document.
Okay, so this is an architecture diagram of our complete application. We see on the left-hand side that the Helping Hand website, primarily coded in HTML, CSS, is the output that we have visible on a desktop or mobile interface through responsive layout. Inside in the middle, we have connecting the front end and the back end. We have JS code also using Node.js functions, and the Firebase API is provided by Google in order to create the credit operations checkbox filter and to search by a specific senior. And on the back end side, we have our Cloud Firestore database, which has the senior, task, and volunteer collections, as well as the documents explained in the previous slide. So some of the tools we used for this project in the back end, we used Cloud Firestore as a database, VS Code as an IDE to write the JavaScript code to access the database, and the Node.js command prompt in order to run Node.js asynchronous functions. In the front end, we used Adobe XD for wireframes, browsers, specifically Firefox and Chrome for testing, Brackets, another type of IDE, Replit, another browser-based IDE, and Bootstrap CSS in order to create the CSS for our Helping Hand website. So some of the lessons we learned throughout this project was working as a team over a virtual environment throughout meetings, 2 meetings every week. We worked in JS code style guides and made sure that there was a unification in the code across all team members, which was really beneficial in order for all of us to have to be accessing the same code and be able to read each other's code, understand, and add more. We also worked on using and working with Git and GitHub, and that was something that some of the members, it was the first time, as well as just working with it and making sure that it was synchronous throughout all 3 members. And some members also worked with a NoSQL database for the first time rather than a SQL database for Cloud Firestore. And for some members, it was just using a database for the first time.
So for further work, we would like to match volunteers and seniors together. And so, for example, volunteers are shown task suggestions in addition to being able to search for tasks. Also working on a better interface for tasks and including feedback for volunteers. So once a task is complete, a form will appear in the senior portal, and they can rate their service based on smiley faces. And then there will also be an input box to include further feedback for the volunteers. And once that feedback is submitted, that will be displayed in the volunteer portal for them to read. Also, possibly creating a mobile app and adding security and hosting, converting to React and more accessibility preferences, and adding a chatbot specifically designed to help seniors. And so adding a customer support chatbot for users who run into any, like technical issues or may have any questions. And this would be designed specifically with seniors in mind for ease of use. So we just want to thank you for attending our tech talk. And if you want to contact any of us, we have our individual emails on the slide right there for you. Thanks again.